Well, we got more acknowledgments of it later on, but we'll keep going through the show and get all of our returns and stuff done, and then I'll make that comment about that outside one, like we were saying. So the next part was Mandy Rose versus Sasha Banks.
Yeah, and with a little bit of outside play from Bayley, who came out to do commentary, right, for the match.
Yeah, Bayley was out there as well.
With a little bit of outside play from Bayley, ended up distracting Sasha, got the win for Mandy Rose. It was just kind of a...
It was progressing the Sasha Bayley.
Progressing the Sasha Bayley. When it was a match, that was there for that.
Yeah. I dig on Mandy. Like,
yeah.
She's super in shape. Like, she's got that old school, using a bad term here, diva look.
Yeah.
Like, she's a super pretty girl. You know, the blonde hair. But, like, she can go.
Exactly.
She was on Tough Enough. Like, I think she was one of the better ladies from the Tough Enough that she's from. Her and Sonya both were on the same one.
Well, she could be, like, one of the poster girls for the women's division, and the fact that she looks good in pictures, she looks good in video, but she can also beat the hell out of you.
And she's like
turn
one of the
switch.
stronger women. Like, I think she squats like 300. Maybe, like,
so she's
just super jacked.
She can go if WWE gets behind her.
Yeah, and they will in time.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think they're going to have to now, because the next part that happened right after that was Paige's retirement.
Yeah, this makes me sad.
So Paige retires, and like you just said, WWE can get behind. Mandy Rose is obviously Absolution's not going to have Paige with him anymore, so so now's the time for them to do something with her.
Yeah,
exactly.
This Paige thing makes me sad, because this young lady has been wrestling since she was basically in the womb.
Yeah.
You know, she went through the trials and tribulations she did the last year, and then just for a freak accident in a match, just a bad kick with a whiplash, to be the reason she has to leave, really sucks. Because she's a solid worker. The crowd loves her. Mm-hmm. She cut a promo, and she can be that heel. She was, you know, her AJ. Emma, like, if you want to see, you know, Emma work, go watch the NXT Women's Championship Finals. It was Paige and Emma, and they tore it down. Yeah. So it sucks to see her have to go out like this, you know, very much in the vein of Edge, who didn't want to retire yet.
For sure.
He had to.
For sure.
But I did enjoy in her retirement speech, in bringing up Daniel Bryan, thanking him, and saying it's because he was down for 3 years with similar injuries and wrestled his first match last night, so it gives her hope.
Yeah.
That it's not over. She's not saying it's done, but it's finally time to acknowledge what we've all known for months now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But I tell you what, I'm going to say this, and it's probably not going to be the popular.
That's fine. We'll smother you later.
Fair enough. It's sad to see somebody go so young, being injured, you know, especially knowing how much she cares about the business and that kind of thing. But her retiring, like, I don't know, I wasn't as hit by it because I wasn't familiar with her work outside of WWE.
Yeah, I mean,
all I got to see was the short amount of time that she was with WWE,
and what, a year,
4 years,
4 years, and a year and a half of it, she was on
gone.
TV.
Yeah.
So you know, you didn't have that time to get invested, and that's not an unpopular opinion. You know, you can't.
But
you can't be affected by something you're not invested in.
Yeah.
But again, this whole women's revolution, I mean, Paige is a huge part of it.
For sure.
So you can't take that away from her.
Yeah. No, and I'm not trying to take anything away from her. I'm merely saying that I look at it as like, sucks to see, but hey, I'm sure that we can find something else for you.
Yeah.
And then after that, we roll into another return.
We have Elias in the ring.
Right. Elias is in the ring doing his shtick. Definitely, like, going with this crowd who were... You could tell he was trying to piss them off, but the crowd was like eating it up. Like, yeah, make us upset.
Yeah, make a song for us.
Yeah.
So then he goes into a song and tells them he's going to punch them all in the face, and they still cheered.
Yeah, that's the problem with the Raw after Mania crowds. They're going to eat it up because it's people all over the world who know what's going on. You know, with air quotes.
Right.
So
I still don't think it was a problem though. I mean, I still enjoy it every time.
I dig on Elias so much.
Yeah.
Like I dig on the.
So then we saw right there we had Bobby Lashley make his return to WWE.
I'm torn on this one.
After 5, 6, how long has it been? 5 or 6 years, right?
since shortly after what WrestleMania was
when
the
Brock
Donald Trump
left the
gimmick.
first time.
Yeah.
It was shortly after the WrestleMania where Donald
Umaga
Trump,
Lashley.
Yeah, I think it was shortly after that.
It's been a bit.
It's been a bit. He went on to do MMA. He went on to do TNA.
Yeah.
I'm torn. Like he's still, his facials are still that of a wet blanket.
Yeah.
But I kind of watched some of his stuff in TNA, and he had a personality. So if they can capitalize on that and kind of let him do that.
Well, I didn't see him any in TNA, so all I'm going off of is the last time I saw him in WWE.
Yeah.
And with that, like seeing a big man like he is come in and decimate people, and then hearing him get on the microphone, and it sounds like he took in helium. Like for me, it's like they've got to do something character wise.
Yeah.
Like they can. I'm not saying that because of his voice or the way he speaks or what have you is going to hold him back. But I do think that they need to come up with a character that can help advance him.
I think right now they're still giving him the Bobby Lashley character, and they're just not going to have him talk really.
Yeah.
As I think where they're at right now.
Yeah. But if they're going to run something with Elias, like you got to have it back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
Giving him Elias, who is a super over character, will help whichever way they want to push him. So we'll see what this goes. Like it was a short.
I'll say who knows if this is even going to be Elias versus Lashley?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't Elias versus Cena at Mania the night before, where Cena just beats up Elias and that's Elias' thing.
But I still see that if they have it be Elias versus Lashley, that Elias could potentially bite them in the ass in the fact that Lashley is still trying to build his character up with new WWE fans, whereas Elias has been here for a while and already still even if it's not a post WrestleMania crowd, the crowd is still very much
they react really well to Elias.
They walk with Elias.
Yeah, exactly.
Where I don't think they'll get that. Bobby will have troubles comparing to that reaction. So it'll be interesting to see what was it like a 1 minute.
Yeah, I'll say
beat the piss out of him.
More or less, like I said, I don't think it's going to be Elias versus Lashley. I think Lashley's going to be doing some squash matches and stuff like that, probably.
Yeah. Bringing back some enhancement talent stuff.
So that cut to the backstage after that of Owens and Sammy confronting Angle, asking for a job.
Yeah, nice. which was awesome. It was real subtle, but then when it came to Kurt, it's like, oh. That was
He's
great.
like, oh yeah, that's too bad. Like, it was like, you guys are here for a job, and they're like, well, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, that's too bad. Like,
Angle sometimes just has really good fluctuation and can go really well.
So we'll skip a little bit of matches here, in that they make. So he says. He says, well, like, they say they turned a new leaf.
Well, yeah, Sammy and Kevin come in asking for a job, and they're like, come on, please, Kurt.
So they say they turned a new leaf, though, and everything. Like, there was just
a new maple
different views with management on SmackDown is all it was. Like, they're new. They've seen the error of their way in the last 24 hours. Owen says he's got a family. Zayn says he's got a family. Owen says, but I have a kid. Like, trying to just one-up it, that I need the job more than you.
Yeah.
So Angle finally just says, well, there's one spot. You guys can wrestle for it tonight. So we skip a little bit here, and we'll go right into that match first. Typical knockdown, tear down. I mean, just Owen, Zayn, all at it.
Yeah.
We've seen it. We love it. It's there.
Two freight trains going
and it ends in a double count out. And literally they just say, hey, since no one won, no one has a job.
Right.
I'm interested to see where this goes.
Absolutely. Well, seeing it go from fighting to come back on SmackDown, I feel like they could do a little bit more with this on Raw. Like them trying to get in on Raw after a couple weeks and then leading up to a pay-per-view.
Or it could very well be what we'll talk about here in a little bit, the change in management on SmackDown. Right. Maybe they're going right back to SmackDown because there's new management to SmackDown.
True. Because Paige is still running the heel thing, at least for the time being.
Hopefully. We'll get to that.
Well, hopefully.
We'll get to that.
Fuck you, we'll get to it. No, I'm saying it's a possibility.
We'll get to that.
Like listen, sideburns.
Okay, well, so past that then. We'll just go on to the next match because Johnny's not drunk, so it's not as funny right now. The next match was our last call up for Raw. Authors of Pain versus
Arthurs?
Authors of Pain.
The Authors of Pain versus Slater. I can't talk at all.
Slater and Rhino.
You tell me who the match was.
This is Slater and Rhino.
There you go. I can say Rhino, but I just thought you'd keep making fun of me, so
it's fine.
We got some humor going finally again. We're there.
Yay! You get drunk.
There you go, Regal.
I'm a fan of Authors of Pain. Like they're two guys who have a legitimate badass background. One of them was an MMA fighter. One of them I want to say was a freestyler, Greco, like Olympian.
Yeah.
And they got Paul Ellering, who managed forever one of the most badass tag teams.
So, but the question is,
was a nice touch on Monday.
Yeah.
But do they still have Paul Ellering now? Because at the end of the match, did you notice the way they end with it?
Yeah.
So I just have a feeling it's more or less going to be like Paul Ellering signed up to do this at NXT. He's not going on the road.
See,
he brought up.
He put out a tweet though. Yeah. Says like, I don't mind the traveling. I don't think the Authors of Pain need him. When they started, he was cutting a lot of the promos.
Right.
But, towards the end of their run in NXT, it was very much, they would cut promos in their kind of native language. I don't know what their heritage is, but they would still throw in English.
I'm pretty sure it's Samoa.
No, they're not. I know that. No.
I
think they're like Armenian or something of that. I'm going to get tore up in the comments on not knowing this. But they can still cut, these big badass guy promos where you don't need to talk a lot.
Yeah.
And maybe Ellering's going to go back to NXT and maybe he has a deal where he helps down there and that's where they're keeping him and they're going to throw him with another team.
Yeah.
He has a really good track record with tag teams. Or he's just going to take some time off. He's been doing the NXT thing and traveling.
Well, that's the thing.
For
Wasn't
like 2
his
years.
Daughter included in the
Rachel?
She was in the tournament, I
and
believe.
She's done some
she didn't go far into it, but she was in it.
And who's to say maybe she's getting ready to come back to NXT and could use Dad as a manager for a little bit.
Yeah.
Also another avenue to take.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's keep going on here. The next thing after that match then, we have Roman Reigns coming out and just complaining.
He cut kind of a half-shoot promo.
Yeah, like saying, I don't know what happened, I was left in the dark. I was coming in. All this. He complains, talks about saying that if you keep putting me against Brock, only thing's going to happen is going to be me winning the belt.
You've gotten your face smashed in how many times?
Yeah, well, and then it kind of leads really well into the return that happens at that point right there is Samoa Joe, who we finally see Joe come back. That's our third return for the night. Meaning in the same show that they announced TNA on WB programming for the first time televised is the return of 3 TNA World Champions.
Right.
As Samoa Joe comes in and says, yeah, you keep talking about beating up Brock, but every time you face me, you get beat up pretty bad as well.
Yeah.
So like, you're not this big badass, and I'm gonna take you down if I have to. Kind of thing.
I almost kind of hope, like I know they want Reigns to be their main event guy, but Joe kind of had the injury bug and had a rough start with giving people some injuries.
So you wonder if they're going to hedge their bets and just
slingshot Joe above.
Yeah.
I think people will be more invested in Joe and Brock beating the shit out of each other again.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. I was like, could this be a transition? We've seen, we haven't got to a whole lot of it on it, but Undertaker this week he was slated to face Rusev in a casket match for the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And then the next day now we have it that it's Jericho versus him.
Which Jericho's tweet basically said, I'm undefeated in casket matches. I'm going to put him in the casket and bury his ass in the desert.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason they ixnayed the Rusev thing was because of like a TMZ thing they did, right? Where Rusev and Lana were filmed on by TMZ paparazzo saying something about Rusev was going to beat Undertaker's old ass, and Michelle McCool saw it and was like, who's old ass? And didn't like the fact that they called him old.
He's 50-something.
Right.
But so they easily just changed all that so quick. Who's to say they don't change this up, though,